Good morning, Bella.
Thank you so much for
Good
joining us,
morning
and
to
I hope you're
everyone.
well.
Could be better.
Okay.
Be better if the facts were put out right.
Okay, so what is it you want to correct? Give us the details.
Well, I think earlier on, before you went on a break, you did make a categorical statement that the government, in effect, has not been fair to cocoa farmers, and that the world market price of cocoa was $3,600.
Okay.
And $3,600, and then government was paying cocoa farmers $1,300.
No,
Now,
not dollars,
that is
cedis.
not the fact.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is the fact?
The facts are that what the world market price is today is not and has never been what is paid farmers.
Okay.
What the world market price is today is the forecast that will be used to pay farmers next cocoa season. So the price that is being paid cocoa farmers today, because cocoa is based on a forward sale, and therefore the achieved price of last year, which was $2,200, plus the living income differential of $400, making it $2,600, is what was achieved last year. And with what was achieved, cocoa farmers are getting $1,800 plus, equivalent to 70.3% of what the net FOB, the gross FOB price is.
Okay.
So you cannot base what is being given to cocoa farmers on the current world pricing of cocoa.
Okay.
Next year, because the current cocoa contracts are being sold based on the current world market price. Next year, cocoa season, farmers will realize what the current world cocoa price is.
Okay.
And that has been the standard from day one. Any and everybody in the cocoa industry, including especially the cocoa farmers, know and understand this. So any propaganda to compare what has been paid to them vis-a-vis what the current world market prices is a clear case of the lack of understanding of the facts.
Okay.
And that was what was put out by yourself, and I deemed that we had to correct it.
Well, we were commenting on that based on the forward pricing, because we do understand that when it comes to the pricing of cocoa as well, of course, it is negotiated even before it is ready, for sale.
That's
and
correct.
So that's why we were saying that even at that time, whatever price that has been paid to them, if you look at the current rate now, it's still pretty lower than the current
you can't
rate.
compare that, because at the time that the cocoa contracts were being negotiated, this current price was not a factor.
Okay.
At the time, the cocoa price was $2,200.
Okay.
That was the average world market price at the time, $2,200. And then we added the living income differential of $400 at the time, making it $2,600.
Okay.
All the cocoa board contracts that has been sold, that is the value of it. Of that, farmers have been paid 70.3% next year. When we are talking about cocoa pricing, we'll be referring to the current world market price. And definitely, cocoa farmers will be getting a lot more for their buck.
Now, let me give a quick example before you go, and we'll make this very quick. Now, let's talk about even oil sale, for example. Now, there's a price hedging, kind of mechanism that is used as well. And so you look at the price, or you forecast the price at the price that it will be sold maybe in the near future, and that's how you sell it. So if that price, if it goes lower, then you make some profit. If the price of oil goes higher, then you may be making a loss, which is what we were trying to pair with what is happening in the cocoa industry as well.
Do you know what happens in maize? Do you know how silver is traded?
Okay, tell us.
Do you know how bauxite is traded? So you cannot just go and say there's a difference between gold and oil.
Okay.
They are not traded on the same platforms.
All right.
The mechanics for oil and the mechanics for gold and the mechanics for cocoa are completely different.
Okay. All right.
It's not a like-for-like matter.
Thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Brian A. Champon. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. That's the Minister for Agric. I'll just go to Aisha briefly to speak on this, because, again, if you look at what former President John Dramani is saying, he's also complaining that this price is not in favor of the regular cocoa farmer, because he says that, it's not more equitable share of the international FOB price for the local farmer. Why is he saying that? And based on what Mr. Brani Champon has said, is that a fair argument to make then?
You see, Bella, anyway, good morning to your cherished viewers. Bella, there is a saying that truth is one. So the moment we start get conflicting figures, then we have a cause to believe that there is something fishy going on as far as this cocoa issue is concerned. The president told us that he has increased the cocoa price at 70.5% for the cocoa farmer. Then we have the CEO of Cocoa Board also telling us that the price of cocoa per bag has been increased by 70.05. Is that 70.03? The president said 70.05, and the CEO of Cocoa Board is telling us 70.03. Now, if you do the calculation, 70.03 per the Cocoa Board CEO's calculation is going to give us about $1,820. It's going to give us about $1,820 per bag. Now, at 11.3, we are using the interbank rate at 11.3. It will give us 1,820 Ghana cedis. Now, the president is telling us that he has increased it by 11.5. That is also going to give us it's going to give us, okay, so let me use the per ton, $20,085. 20,085 Ghana cedis per ton.
Okay.
And the CEO Cocoa Board is telling us that he has increased it for the farmers at 20,000. Kindly give me the permission to refer to my notes.
Okay.
Because I want to get the figures clear.
Okay.
Yes. So the CEO is telling us that he has increased it by 20,085 Ghana cedis per ton. While the president is telling us that he has increased it by 20,218 per ton. Okay. That means per bag, the president is getting 1,264 for the cocoa farmers, while the CEO is giving them 1,255 per bag, if you do the calculation. So which one are we believing? Truth, they say, is one. So if the president comes to tell us that he has increased it by 70.05, and the Cocoa Board CEO is also telling us that he has increased it by 70.3, which one should we believe? Now, yesterday on Joy News, my boss, Sami Jemfi, was on air with Fifi Boafo, who is also
he's a PRO of Cocoa Board. Yeah.
Yes. Now, this argument came up, and Fifi Boafo is now telling us that it's not all the cocoa that is sold at the old price, and that there were some of the cocoa they sold at the current price, which is $3,600 per ton. Now, he was challenged to mention the percentage that was sold at 2,600, which is the old cocoa price per ton, and tell us which one they sold for 3,600, which is the current price per ton. And he wasn't able to tell us. So this clearly tells us that there is something fishy ongoing.
But he says there's nothing fishy ongoing.
You don't expect us to believe there is nothing fishy ongoing. The calculation by the president and that of the CEO would have been consistent. However, we are seeing different figures.
Okay.
Per the president's figure and the CEO's figure. Which one are we believing? And you see, it's not just even about the pricing. Under John Mahama, we did a little over 66% for the cocoa farmers. Now, if we use the $3,600 per ton, it is a complete rip-off of the cocoa farmer. It is a total rip-off. Calculate
How is it? Because
3,000.
if you listen to Mr. Brian Champon, he's giving you a clear example of how the
So
pricing was done.
We don't
and
believe.
he says it's not too far away from the actual price at that time, because if you look at it, the farmers were getting $1,800 plus at the time when it was going for $2,200 at the time they priced it.
No,
so
no, the farmer never got
much.
$1,800. They are currently giving them 1,308 Ghana cedis per bag. They claim they sold the ton at $2,600. But we are telling them that, look, the world market says it is giving $3,600 per ton. So for you to tell us you sold it, and as we speak, they said they sold it at that price so they could go for the syndicated loan. Are you aware the syndicated loan, as we speak, is not in our hands? We don't have the money. So why in a hurry to go and sell the cocoa at that cheap price? You claim you have sold it at 2,600 at the old price, so you could go for a loan. As we speak, the loan is not in our hands. Why then did we go to sell our cocoa at that cheap price? Then yesterday, Sami Jemfi appears on TV with Fifi Boafo. Fifi Boafo is now telling us that it's not everything that is sold at 2,600, and that part of the cocoa, tons of the cocoa, were sold at 3,600, which is the current international market price. Which one are we believing, Bella? Besides, under John Mahama, when we were doing 66% for the cocoa farmer, which is about, we got 475, and we gave the cocoa farmers 475 and took 224. With this 224 Ghana cedis, we built schools to avoid the child labor issue that came up. The international body said that, look, if you are going to involve the children in your farm activities, we are not going to buy the cocoa. John Mahama said, then let me use the 224 that I have taken for operational costs to build a school for the cocoa farmers' children, so that they can go to school instead of following their parents to the cocoa farm. Then again, John Mahama built a solar-powered borehole, 110 of them out of the same money. Then set aside a pension fund, 28 million Ghana cedis for the cocoa farmer. Currently, they've had more, even as we speak. Last year, with the $2,600 dollars per ton, the NPP gave the cocoa farmer 800 Ghana cedis per bag.
Okay.
They gave the cocoa farmer 800 Ghana cedis per bag. This is a complete rip-off, especially as they are not enjoying any of the benefits they are supposed to enjoy, as they were enjoying under John Mahama.
Okay.
It is a complete rip-off, and that is our case. And we still don't believe, per their explanations, that they sold it at the old price. Because if indeed they sold it at the old price, they should have one figure and communicate it as such.
Okay.
However, they are having different figures, and it is a cause to doubt the figures they are putting out.
Okay, no problem. Well, this wasn't supposed to be the topic. We needed to just speak to Honorable Brian Champon. And I'm not sure you'd want to speak on this, would you?
What do I have to say? All I'm saying is that let the cocoa farmers get what is due them. All these arguments, all this disparity of prices, arguing on their heads, they are key to our economy. And the products that they cultivate is one of our highest exchange rate earners. But my issue is that every day we are talking about cocoa, pricing cocoa. What are we doing with our cocoa, Bella? Are we still exporting this cocoa in its raw form? What value are we adding to our cocoa? It would be of great essence to the farmers if actually we're able to export processed cocoa in all the products that they're in. Ivory Coast right now, they've noticed that exporting raw cocoa is not going to help them. Exporting raw cocoa is not going to help them. So they are making efforts to do what? To export in a processed form. Every time we talk about pricing, we talk about incentives, we talk about implements, when the minister was speaking, he was, talking more, explaining the issues and all the ramifications of it, talking about hedging, future pricing, forward-looking pricing and all that. But is that what it is? I remember when we were young, there was this cocoa scholarship for the children whose parents were cocoa farmers. And at the end of the day, what really happened? You find out that even the scholarship was going to people who could pay their fees, their wards fees. And the children of the cocoa farmers themselves were not benefiting from it. So we even believe that there should be a ministry for cocoa.
A whole ministry set up for
cocoa?
cocoa?
Yes, for cocoa. Instead of putting it under the Ministry of Agriculture.
Then other sectors will also say that they want a whole ministry for them.
Cocoa is a big one. We have a ministry for mineral mines and mineral resources. Why didn't we put it under the Ministry of Environment and say that minerals are and is part of the environment, it's in the soil. It impacts on the environment, so let's put it there. There's the Ministry of Minerals and Natural Resources. So there should be because cocoa is a big thing. Do you get me? Apart from every year, all we do is just to, increase prices for them against the FOB price, against how much it is on the world market. We need to do more for cocoa farmers. Okay. We need to do more for the product itself. Because we have cocoa processing company, we have the produce buying company. Their cocoa processing company is just existing on a skeleton. Meanwhile, the demand for the Ghana chocolate is so high, they cannot even supply it. They have very good medicinal products like the dark cocoa that we drink, but we are not even marketing it properly even within. Let alone do it outside there.
Okay.
Switzerland has chocolate, but their chocolate is not like ours. They want our chocolate. Why don't we create the market for us to produce the chocolate here and export? When you add value, you get more money than just sending the product in its raw state. Do you understand? And I also don't know why government always politicizing. Not only one government, they all politicize the increases in the prices for the farmers. It is your responsibility because you are going to sell it to the world market, and whatever markup on it that is for the operational cost, it's coming to you as a government. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And you have to use whatever money that you get out of your sale to industrialize the nation, to bring in manufacturing companies and do all that development projects. So why is it always a fanfare when there is an increase in cocoa prices? There shouldn't be. It's a responsibility. If you pay your child's school fees, do you always go around with the receipt? No. It's a responsibility.
All right. Well, joining us in the studios this morning is Frances Esiam. She's a former CEO of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Bella.
Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Bella, I told you she will come on.
How are you? No, I was given very late notice.
Oh.
I was from another station yesterday. It was about 7 p.m.-ish. You know, at 65.
Yeah.
I don't joke with my sleep.
And we all know that you are 65.
I always have to accentuate it.
Anyway, Bella,
good morning. This morning, I heard you talking about my credibility on leaving the NDC. It's simple. I was whipped with a bazan. I normally don't like going back to that issue. So I just want to clear the air.
Okay.
I was whipped. Soundly whipped. All my back. I hear again there, I think Nana Komia were in Metro Studios. Sorry to mention Metro. And I was whipped with the barazim. My head was bashed. I was seeing stars. I nearly died. Thanks to Colonel Asasi Jima, Honorable Lawyer Kwekuba, and the Honorable Okaija Adamafio, and the Auntie B. Newman, one of the stalwarts of the 31st movement, Auntie B. Lebenamingabo, and then, Nijon Coleman, who had to fire gunshots before I was left free. When I say free, before the assailants, Azoka and his boys took off. And so far, Azoka apologized to me much later. Madam, because when I get to Tamale, it's they come like a motorcade, you know, from the airport to go and do programs. So, I mean, there are parliament and, you know, there are people out in Jesus. So I said, Madam, it be order from on high. So yesterday I was saying that's how politics is. If you look at it and you can't stand it, you leave. But as a political animal, one has to fit himself. So it belongs to the past.
No.
I would have been a non-living statistic by now. Maybe my children celebrating some, since 2005, celebrating some, what do you call it? Some 18th anniversary. And all girls. Today I have a doctor degree, I have a nurse degree, a human, what do you call it, resource personnel degree. I have a, you know, what do you call it, a graphic designer degree.
Oh, okay.
And they
all girls?
All girls.
I see.
And I have one in the law school, the 5th.
Okay.
And the last one is a fashion designer with a degree from tech.
I see.
High class fashion.
So 6 girls?
Yeah, and 5 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And still counting.
Well, thank God for your life.
So good morning for the viewers. So I just want to, as a consultant, my credibility is very, very important.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's it. So I won't go too far.
No problem.
I heard
totally
you
understand
talking
that.
about cocoa politics. And I think that wasn't
Bella,
really...
that is not the
That's not the plan.
I know,
That's not the plan. But to be fair,
yes.
Yeah, I'll
we
just-
allowed both of you to
2
touch
seconds.
on it. So just touch on it briefly.
You see, we've always done cocoa politics from the CPP days under Dr. Nkrumah till now. Why? You see, we were ushered into a Republican rule from colonial rule. So you must know that whatever government does, it's always been publicized. Because government, good governance practices, one of them is to make sure that they use our resources, our natural resources, very, very well. I'm talking of, you know, turning over for the good of the people. And if for a long time now, some appreciable increment has come, it is something, we are not talking of a celebration, but government must announce it for the people of Ghana to be aware. Because we are in times of unbridled social media comments where people can just get up and say anything. And you know, look at the situation we are in West Africa. So any good bit of news, is very, very essential to keep the cohesion, the peace, and the harmony. So when you get up and you hear something good, it actually eases tensions a little.
Okay.
You know.
And this is good.
And this is good
The
news.
new pricing is good?
It's good news.
Okay.
Because you see, right now we have so many local chocolate factories. Some around Suwon, some around where I stay. You know, I'm talking of Frafraha Upway, almost towards the Dodowa Road, and so on. Today, when you travel, it looks so duty free. You see how they've packaged the Ghana chocolate. The last time I bought some, when I was going to Germany, 35 euro at our duty free here. And when I went, everybody was excited about it. And it was simple because I didn't take the usual introba and shito and things. I took Ghana chocolates. And the African shops too are doing marvelously well. But like Nana was saying, I think the added value, you know, we ourselves here, we consume chocolates from other countries in our supermarkets more than we consume our golden tree. So I think the cocoa day, you go for so many conferences and programs in-house, and you realize that you can't even get what you call the bitter cocoa. You get my point? You get all sorts of coffee and things. So I think it is a good step.
Okay.
The farmers are happy. It may not be the expected height, but I think it's good for us to keep our farmers going and repairing it to dim the galamsey to a little.
We do hope so.
Yeah, we hope so.
We hope so.